Hey, y'all. Welcome to the Empower the Yet. This podcast is for moms of all generations, young adults and teens looking to build a business with a Christian mindset and marketing strategies to break generational ties that hold them back from monetizing their online business. I'm Melinda Rychlik, and I've built multiple streams of income, all the while being a wife and busy mom of 5, a Christian life coach, a former elementary school teacher, and network marketer. I'm the creator of Empower Your Marketing, a full-service virtual marketing agency, the author of Slay Those Giants Girl, co-author of Women of Faithful Purpose 30-Day Devotional, and so much more.
Absolutely. And hey, guys, I am Lisa Gaunt, and I am just celebrated my 32nd anniversary, y'all. I know, kind of crazy. I know, crazy, huh? I mean, I must have gotten married when I was like 6 months old, I think. I don't know. And I am the mom of 3 adulting children and the grandma of 2, former high school and middle school English and history teacher, but lifelong entrepreneur. I have always been enjoying business and technology and all of those things. And here I am at this point in my life being able to create my own schedule and loving all of that kind of stuff even more. And just having the best time ever and loving this podcast that Melinda and I are together on and getting to know you guys too. We hope that you are enjoying our little podcast so far. And we're going to have some fun today, right, Melinda?
That's right. So today we're going to be talking about raising teens and tweens and having adult children while running a business. Okay. So this should be really interesting.
Right. Because we are in every stage of life, honestly, we really are. So
yeah, it's so funny how we met, and you know, we're only 10 years apart, which is really wild and crazy at that. So but I have a 13-year-old daughter, a 12-year-old daughter, a 10-year-old son, a 5-year-old son, and a 2-year-old little boy who's about to be 3. And it is a hot mess express over here most days. And
especially when kids are off school, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yesterday was a little crazy. As they get older, it gets easier in some ways and harder in others. And so, you know, having a daughter that's older is great because she's certified to babysit through the American Red Cross. And but it's different babysitting your own siblings than it is babysitting someone else's kiddos. So we have to be on a pretty rigid schedule at times to make sure that everything gets done the way it's supposed to get done, so I can get done what I want to get done. And and so it just with sports schedules, they're in baseball, softball, swim, volleyball. It's wild around here. So yeah, and Lisa, you can talk to that because you had 3 that were super busy when they were little, right?
Oh yeah. And and that's the funny thing, because I was a teacher and I was teaching in the classroom for 25 years, but I did take some time off after my son was a year old. But I also knew I wanted to do something else while staying home with him. And so I became affiliated with my first network marketing company about, my son is 28, so right around 27 years ago. And so I was, a stay-at-home mom, but also operating a business from home mom. And then as the kids got older, yeah, you're talking about the busyness. And yes, it was the most fun things I miss now, of course. But, from band to soccer to, whatever church events we were in, because they were super active with that too, with scouting and trying to be the most, and I was teaching during those times, to be the most present mom, but also have those other responsibilities was really kind of difficult sometimes. I mean, it's really, even, whether you are working outside of the home or whether you have a home-based business, juggling business mom and mom is not easy. I don't think anybody says, oh, that's easy. I don't think they ever said no business entrepreneur mom ever.
Right.
Like that was super easy.
Yeah, no. And what I found is, I too have been in the network marketing industry for over a decade, and I always had an entrepreneur mindset from a long, long time ago. And as a teacher, I always had those odd jobs and would find, I found network marketing and loved it and built teams with each company I was with, and was with the last company for over 10 years. And so during that time, building and growing your business ebbs and flows. And so you just really kind of have to roll with it, especially when you have kids, because sometimes they're in seasons where you need to be more hands-on, right? And so there were lots of mornings I would get up way before I was supposed to in work. There were times where I worked during my lunch break. There was times where I would work late after they went to bed, or when the girls got old enough and they were able to help me, I gave them little tasks to do, and they helped me build these little things that I would send out to potential clients, and so or Christmas gifts or whatever, and so it was fun to get to see them like learn that like this is what a business is about, right? And so but it was oftentimes like you always felt like this you were dropping the ball somewhere
Right.
just a little bit, right? And so a lot of times that ended up being like dinner at night, or not being able to go work out, or um, you know, but most times we always, our priorities were we went to church, we were involved in Bible study. Um, that was a no. Um, we didn't sacrifice that at all. And
And I
then,
think that's important too, because, and you're right. There's so much of us when we're, a lot of us as entrepreneurs, we're going into having our own businesses so that we can be with our children.
yep.
And we don't want to have them in daycare and things like that. And I have a picture. I was actually showing my daughter just a couple of days ago. I have 3 children, a son, a daughter, and a daughter. And I was showing the middle daughter a picture of her younger sister when she was about a year, not quite a year and a half old or whatever, underneath a chair that was in what sort of was an office, little extra room that we had, and with marker all over her face because she was quiet while I was working. And so I just kind of didn't do anything. And, it's like, uh-oh, mama dropped the ball a little bit there while business mama was overworking. So yeah, it is hard. But I like that you said the priorities, because we had those too. It's like the non-negotiables,
Right.
ours was, of course, being involved in our church activities and trying as hard as possible not to miss those no matter what. And then the other one was having dinner at night. So for 3 to 5 days a week, at least, usually 5 days a week, we would have dinner together. And so you do have to set that up too while you're a business person, because a lot of times that can consume us. And again, whether you're working outside the home or inside of the home,
Right.
it's so hard. And I don't think our husbands have that dare like we do of feeling
No.
the dad guilt. It's like we do with the mom guilt for sure.
Yeah, the mom guilt is for sure. And then, because what ends up happening is you're working, but then you've got all the tasks that need to be done at home, right? Like the laundry, the cleaning, the grocery shopping, the menu, all the things that you're supposed to do, making sure that they have what they need for school, or that they have what, that they have like the different things that they, lunches, snacks, all those things. I mean, it's just like the list could go on. And you're
And
like,
we're sounding like doom and gloom right now, but there are so many benefits of it too.
yeah,
So we'll get to that too, y'all.
yeah. And it's really funny because when you sit back and you're like, okay, is this what is important? What is the most important thing? And so sometimes I was listening to a really good book, and it was talking about how like we put so much pressure on ourselves as women to make sure all of our ducks in a row. everything looks perfect, right? And I realized this as a young teacher. It's so funny. I never will forget this. I was talking about some, students and family situations and stuff, and I was frustrated. And my aunt was a teacher, and she said, "Melinda, you will not be the best teacher you can possibly be until you have your own children, because then you know what it's like, right?
Yeah.
Then you know that, my kids are not ever going to do that, and I'm not going to do that." And what I've learned is, don't ever say that, because that is not the truth. And so,
yeah, I was every teacher's nightmare, and the one that I would complain about, because I would forget to fill out the permission slips to go on field trips or whatever. But I couldn't leave school to go take them. So my husband, who had a little more flexibility, he would leave. And so the office people, unfortunately, got to know my husband very well, because I was that mom. But then as a teacher, I would sit there and go, I cannot believe it. I've sent out 3 messages and they still haven't sent me that back. I'm going, oh yeah, that's me too.
Well, this year it's so funny because they have notebooks that come home with pieces of paper, like agendas or whatever. And you're supposed to sign it every single day. And the first thing is, did you get a bad note? Okay, then I move on. I don't go sign it. And then so I open it up to finally sign it 2 days later. And there's 2 gigantic circles like, hello, mom, you didn't sign this. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm that mom.
I'm that mom. But you know what I love that you were saying earlier about assigning your kids jobs and things, because that's another, y'all, that's a big benefit to this too, because especially in what Melinda and I do now, I mean, if y'all think about it, the tech thing is just a huge deal. And as much as we can say good and bad, like the perfect life kind of, I got my laundry all put away and folded, when we see it online or whatever. But that is our world right now, is that tech world, the social media world. And, the great thing about whether it's a network marketing company or whether it's the tech world stuff, when we involve our tweens and then our teens in something like that, we are giving them a skill that is going to be marketable later.
Right.
And right now I know that a lot of schools are starting to go, not push the college route as much. Of course, we need our doctors, our lawyers, and accountants and everything else, but there's people who, that we need in other areas. And we are giving our kids some skills when we allow them to be part of our business. Tell me a little bit about what you've done in yours.
Yeah. So, kind of to piggyback before I answer that question, to piggyback on what you said, what I've noticed when I went to Sophia, when they were talking about the courses for freshman year, they actually can, if they go into certain programs, they can be certified in certain areas to go straight into a job that pays you guys like $50,000 a year. So she wants to go into criminal justice, and that can pay, like they can get certified as a 911 dispatcher. And
wow, cool.
Yeah, and then they get paid pretty well. And so there are other things that they could get certified in, but that one just really stuck out at me. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's really cool. But some of the jobs that I give my girls, the school districts are also using Canva a lot, which is a graphic. It's a graphic tool that we use for social media. A lot of people use it. There's a free version, a paid version, but I have my kids that create graphics help me do that. They're learning how to send messages on Facebook and Instagram. They're learning they're learning about the algorithm on social media and how, like, they know it's there, right? They know that, oh, somebody got so many likes and so many comments.
Right.
And so, but teaching on like the strategies of why things are the way they are and the way things need to be done. And so, Lisa and I talked about, we're going to do a training on teaching teens and tweens how to, create a podcast, and how, my daughter listens to a podcast for young adults, teens, that it's called Girl with Goals. And it is, I love it. I've listened to it with her, and it's really cool because they talk about, grocery shopping. They talk about, being better at saving money and how they're saving money in fashion and where to find bargains and how to set goals and work out and the way they eat and where they find their groceries and all kinds of stuff. And I'm just like, wow, this is really
That
neat.
is so fun.
You
Yeah.
know, and so why not have something like that for them that would be more positive, you know? And so anyway, so I'm so excited that we're doing that, but they've seen me work through those. They've listened to me, you know, uh, record a podcast, you know, they heard me talk about all of that stuff. But, you know, in network marketing, some of the things I would have them do is, I'd give them an assignment to message people and they would do that. Or I would have them, you know, package together gifts for Christmas and, you know, put labels on them and, you know, tie up little, I used to do mini facials and I would tie up little mini facials, little sachet bags and put products together before we actually had samples, you know?
Yeah. Oh
And
my
I mean,
God.
so they were young. And so they were doing this at the kitchen table. I mean, they would go around and do this because I was working full time, you know, and I had two little boys on top of them. And, you know, at that time I was a single mom too. So it was like, I was, you know, shuffling and juggling and it's funny, they've often talked about like having their own business, you know? And so it's really encouraging to hear the schools encourage them to be entrepreneurs because I really believe that is where this is going. That is where, you know,
I do too. It's good. It's
kids
huge.
yeah, because we're, you know, we're losing a lot of the brick and mortar stuff that we had that we would go work at before. It's like these kids have a phone in their hand. Why not teach them how to do things online?
And, you know, and I like the way that you kind of segueing in that. And guys, believe it or not, we do not have a script. I know it's hard to tell. We're so good at it. But, you know, it's really cool that you mentioned that too, because with what you do, especially because Melinda, y'all, is like the social media marketing manager for many accounts. And when your girls see how you manage these things, they also can see how to become a more responsible user of social media because so many of our kiddos are getting on there and just doing, you know, like cray stuff. And for them to be able to see, here's what the results are when you manage it responsibly, whether it's a business or not, their own personal accounts. Here's what people are seeing. Here's what's going to happen when this is out there. I think that's pretty cool too. But you know, the nice thing, y'all, I was just telling Melinda earlier today, I hate doing taxes. I absolutely do not. I was telling her, I just want to make money, spend money, and not worry about it. I'm just sorry. Is that me or just anybody else?
No, it is not you. It is probably everybody.
I hate it. And I have been working with mine. Of course, my kids are all out of the house now. And I wish that I had thought about this when they were there. But y'all, if you have a home business that has tasks, you can hire your kids and pay them money and then write those things off.
Yep.
And then you kind of like killed like 4 or 5 birds with one stone. Yeah, because you've got having your helpers. They're learning how to manage, earn money, manage money, and then you also have a tax write-off. So there are things like that as well too. So when we're
disclaimer, we are not CPAs, but
no,
works with CPAs.
What do you say? Yeah, to make a disclaimer, we can't tell you exactly the whole thing, but
right. Check with your CPA. But this is very true because we both have done this, and so it is, it's very useful to have,
I can't remember
your children see what they're, and even have them sit down and like write out goals and what they want to do and what they want to be when they grow up and all that kind of stuff. And have it, to get from point A to point B, you might need this, or point B to point C, you might need this, and just kind of help them along the way because, I worked my way through college. And so I paid my way and worked my way through college, and I had a little help, but it wasn't anything significant, and that's pretty much the way my kids are going to be too. And so it's, but I think you learn the value of it when you have to work for it, and so, but having teens, to wrap this up in a pretty little bow, Having tweens, teens, littles, grands, big adult children.
Oh yeah, I'll be babysitting my grandbaby after his mama goes back to work this year too. So yeah, that'll be a fun
Yay.
little addition to my work day.
I know. Too bad we don't live closer. I'd be over there getting my baby fix.
Right.
But but it's a blessing. It's a blessing. It's a lot. It is a lot, but it can be done when you stay super organized, and you keep things on a calendar and you block time. And that's something that we can go over later at a different in a different podcast. But time blocking is huge. Keeping a Trello board, keeping your Google Calendar really open, and for you to see what's going on and how you're spending your time, and
I
how
would say don't feel bad to ask for help. To
right.
Ask a neighbor to watch your children for a little bit if they're
Mm-hmm.
little bitties and you've got to focus more.
Yeah.
Or if you have a Mother's Day out program that gives you a half day every once in a while, don't be afraid to delegate like that, because we are
Right.
not always the best delegators at all. So
No, and if you
want to mention, go ahead, I'll let you finish up.
No, if you want to, and the other thing is, for a lot of us moms, it's hard to let go of the control of our business because we want it to do well, and we know what we're capable of. And so, but if you are, wanting to hand over and delegate different things in your business, and you have like marketing on social media. This is what Lisa and I do. We're open for questions. So ask us questions at the end of our podcast. If this is something that you're interested in, and we would love to share with you, first, how to stay organized with it, and two, any tips and tricks that we have to help you as a busy mom with children. And then also, if you have questions about, how do you even begin to delegate, social media over to someone else. So,
yeah. And y'all, our goal when we started our podcast was to keep this under 20 minutes, but we love talking. So
I know, right?
right now we're running a little bit over, but I do want to throw this out there, since we've talked about podcast and having our tweens, our teens help us out with those kinds of things. Y'all, I think that would, really think about maybe when our kids want to talk, they want a voice. They have things that they, want to get out into the world, and in a responsible manner, you could really nurture that. And if that's something that sounds interesting to you, Melinda and I are doing some delegated training on podcasting with teens, podcasting with, adult women, whatever. And so make sure that you're reaching out to us at Empower Your Marketing and Empower the Yet, because those are, and our links are at the bottom of the podcast, so you can reach out to all of those areas, all of us on social media. But we are super excited about being able to offer things that are going to help us as women, and as our daughters and even our sons can get into that too. I think that's super fun. That's something that we're running into really soon. So you guys reach out. There will be a poll at the bottom of the podcast too, so that you can give some answers to what you would like to hear.
Awesome. And thanks so much for joining us today. And don't forget to follow us on social media. Like Lisa said, tag us by sharing this podcast in your stories. We would be honored if you did that, so we can get the word out. And remember to catch our new show, Empower the Yet, every Friday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Absolutely.
Bye, guys.
Bye.